What's going on, everybody? Hey, Jeff, it did. It showed up as Facebook user, bud. I don't know why that does that. I cannot figure it out. Danny Robinson, how you doing? Had a little technical difficulties here getting started. I came that close from throwing the laptop, but it finally worked. Danny, I hear you. Everybody's waiting on rain, man. Everybody's waiting on it. It's horrible already, and it's too early for this crap. Well, looks like I got a few of you on here already. Since I had some technical difficulties, like um, when it comes to computers, I'm all thumbs, guys. So, uh, little issues I got to work out with the marketing group tomorrow to get this figured out, but we're going to get it figured out. So, this week's show, we're going to talk about maintaining clover, or actually perennial plots. You always hear me say clover, but perennial. That can be anything from your alfalfas, your clovers, your chicories, anything like that. How long can a plot last without rain? I'll tell you what, bud. It's if it's a good clover plot, established plot, like last year here with me, they just went dormant, laid on the ground, waited 3 months before we got any rain, and then they bounced right back up. Now fresh growth, disc planting, root system not fully developed, you're in trouble. Cody Jared, I got 4 thumbs. I got one on each foot too. Kind of look similar. I don't know, a little bit. You got 5. But no, let's talk about maintaining your plots. Especially the perennial plots. We talk about it. We talked about it last time we were on here too. Um, there's a lot of things that people kind of look past when it comes to maintaining plots. A lot of them look past the maintaining part of it. Uh, when it comes to them legume plants, even the non-legume like your chicory, you get your clovers, your alfalfas, your chicory, stuff like that. Guys, you got to mow these plots. You got to mow them when they mature out. You start seeing them flower, they'll mature out. They're matured out. Now, a lot of people ask me about the chicory that they never see the chicory flower out. 99% of the time, that clover is going to mature out before the chicory does, so you never see that flower come on. If you ever get into a clover plot that has some chicory in it, like with our trophy clover, uh, and you just let it go, you don't have the time, it goes all summer long, you go in there and it's a big weedy mess, nasty mess, you'll see that real tall, stemmy chicory with probably a dead flower on it, but you'll see it flower then. It gets real stemmy and tall. And so you normally never see that. Cody, I hear you. I'm waiting for you to send me the money to book the room. You're the one getting married. I thought you paid for the rooms. But get back to plots now. Instead of we don't need to talk about weddings right now. Holy cow, that's the last thing I want to talk about. I know you think I don't know nothing about a wedding. So, but no, when them plots mature, especially them clovers, them alfalfas, stuff like that, when that plot matures, that means it is actually at its most mature rate. It's going to go in that dormant state. It's not going to grow no more. You're going to be at the lowest protein level, least digestible, least palatable. So you want to turn that plot around. You want to get that to that highest protein the most digestible, most palatable. You want to get all them going, and you want to get it back in that growth stage. That's when it's sweet and lush, when them deer love it. Mowing that plot's the only way to do it. Top that plot. You've heard me say many a times, Cody Jarrett's on here. He thinks the same way I do on this. If we got plenty moisture, we'll mow them plots down low. If you don't have the moisture, or if you don't think you have the moisture, if you don't know if you have enough, don't do that. Just take the tops off of them. Leave 6 to 8 inches standing. A lot of your first year growth plots, it might only be 4 to 5 inches when you get that first rain, depending on what Mother Nature's giving you. Just take the tops off of it. That's all you got to do is take them tops off. But if you got a weedy problem, you don't want to use any kind of herbicides. Like I don't really care to use herbicides, but I don't have to. I'm actually going to make sure I got plenty of moisture. I want to go in there and mow that plot. I want to mow it lower, down to 2 inches tall, and then it'll really flourish back up and start outrunning a lot of them weeds and grasses, filling in, smothering them out. It's going to work out really well. Now, the question I've been getting called, I got 4 of them today already. Actually, my first 4 calls today was mowing clover. And that was before 7:30. People want to mow clover, but they haven't had rain. They haven't had rain for a month. They don't have rain in the next 20 days in the forecast. Do not mow this clover. Let that clover go. Leave it alone. And that clover is going to go dormant with no rain, no moisture. It's going to look like crap. It could lay over, depending on how long your drought is. It will bounce back up. When it bounces back up, that's when you want to hit it with a mowing. Now, in that drought type situation, you find them early morning dews, late evening dews, get in there and hit it with our clover fuel. That clover fuel right there, that's one of the best products we've ever had. You see me push and push and push clover fuel. You can't put enough clover fuel on. I mean, this stuff is just unbelievable. It works so well. So you get in that drought type situation. Now, if you get in a drought, and you're like we were here we had 0.2 of an inch of rain in 3 months last year. I would have to spray clover fuel daily to keep that plant going. You can't do that. Just let Mother Nature do its course, whatever. But you go without a couple of weeks worth of rain, 3 weeks, almost a month, and the clover's looking a little ragged. Throw that clover fuel on there. It's going to help you out a bunch. Now, one thing that a lot of people overlook, they think they only need to do it when they're building their new plot. But if you look at our pH test kits right here, that pH test kit, you're looking at a kit that you can test your plot, but even when you're planting, but even when you're maintaining a plot, get out there when you're mowing your clover. You're in 3 or 4 months into the year of growing season. Check it. Make sure that pH is still up there. Make sure it's doing good. You might need to add some lime. You can add lime over a standing clover plot, so don't think you can't. If you're just wanting to give it a quick boost, the Plot Max, that Plot Max right there will give that clover, that alfalfa, that chicory, anything like that, the perennial plots, it's going to give them a quick boost of jump that pH up. It's not long lasting though. But with that humic acid in that pH and that Plot Max, you're actually conditioning that soil, so it's going to help hold moisture. It's going to help get that nutrients to that root system a lot easier, a lot better. So you're bumping your pH up a little bit. You're kind of what I like calling spiking it. It will spike it, and then it'll start gradually going down. But if your pH is low and you need to get it up there, make sure you get in there with some pelletized lime, ag lime, anything like that. Get it on that plot. Again, you can do it right over an existing plot. It does not have to be bare dirt. So another thing too is granular fertilizer. If you're not using the liquid stuff, make sure with them perennials, you're looking at a straight potash, or even like a 5-15-30, 6-20-24, something like that. Keep that nitrogen as low as you can get it, because them clovers and alfalfas and them chicories, the clover and alfalfa will feed that chicory, but that chicory will also feed itself. So it's going to suck up that nitrogen that's stored way down deep, pull it up to the surface. Then clovers and alfalfa is going to suck it in from the atmosphere, store it into the soil. It's going to feed itself. But them clovers and alfalfas, they love that potash. So get them all the potash they can. I'm a diehard guy when it comes to a 0060. That's my go-to. And I always put it on twice a year. Once in the spring, once I'll be doing it here in about 2 weeks. if I get some rain coming in. Next time I get rain coming in, it will be on the ground. It's sitting there in the shed waiting for me. Nope, old buddy Cody's in here talking. I always try to time of rain as well. Long dry spells will cause your clover to mature out. Tiny clovers or flowers. Yeah, exactly, Cody. Yeah. If you can get that, if you know you got a rain coming in and you're not, it's not one of them rains that you're thinking, man, it looks like we got a 30%. If you know you got rain coming in, if you can get that over that clover top prior to, it's going to be even better. That's great information right there, Cody. I taught you well, bud. But no, get in there and check that pH. Make sure that pH is doing what it's supposed to do, because you want all you can get out of that plot. So get that pH as close to the 7.0 as you can, especially with like our Booner Buffet. It needs that 7.0. Them premium alfalfas in there, they do not like poor soil. You got to have a good pH. We got a Facebook user on here saying that he saw some triple 12 on sale at a local RP store. You know, that it's just a little too high nitrogen for me, bud. You can use it. Don't get me wrong. It's a little low in potash. I like a little higher. I like to get up in that 20, 28, all the way up to my 60. But that 12 nitrogen, man, you're going to feed a lot of weeds and grasses that way. Now, if you're in there and you're going to be taking care of this plot, probably using some herbicides, if you use something like a triple 12, you'll get by with it. It'll do good on it. But I'd try to stay away from, I don't like putting anything on. If I have to find something that's not a straight potash, I will look for something in that 5 to 6% nitrogen and no higher. I just don't want to feed any of them weeds and grasses any more than what the plants are already feeding them, because they're sucking that nitrogen in that they thrive on. But a good mowing, that's the way to do it. You know, with your weed control, we talked about it last week. You got your clethodim. The clethodim is going to be your grass control. You have your 24DB, Wheat Rack 200, going to be your weed control. You got your IMOX, that's going to do both of them. The key thing I can tell you guys on here is when you're using herbicides, make sure you use the recommended rate. A lot of people I read on these posts on Facebook, they ask how much clethodim do I need per gallon of water, and people will go on there and they'll say anything from a half an ounce all the way up to 6 ounces, but they never tell them that you never want to put any more than 16 ounces of cleth on an acre. So usually you're looking at that half ounce per gallon. It's going to depend on how your sprayer is going. Most of your sprayers out there, a lot of these, they're calibrated. A lot of these guys are getting like 25 gallons of water on an acre, which is way overkill. If you can tone that sprayer down, you're really, when you're messing with chemicals, you're usually looking at a herbicide that's spraying about 11 gallons of water per acre. And you got to tone them sprayers down to get it. So no matter if you're spraying 11 gallons, if you're spraying 25 gallons, you never want to put, or 100 gallons, 200, 300, it don't matter. You never want to put more than 16 ounces per acre on a plot of clethodim on a plot. So really watch how much you should. Look at IMOX. What's IMOX? I think it's 5 or 6 ounces per acre, no more. So you really got to look at how much you can actually put on that plot, not just how much per gallon, because people are spraying 5 gallon, 10, 20, 30 gallons per acre. You can really get a lot of chemical on there and really toast some plants. Absolutely, Cody. You can take that clover fuel, you can take that Plot Max, you can mix them right together. One pass application, spray both of them at one time. So you're actually conditioning that soil, spiking that pH up a little bit. I hate talking about spiking pH up with Plot Max, but I have to because it will do it. You can read that on our online on our website. It is not a pH enhancer, but it will spike it, but it's short-lived. Please remember, it is short-lived. It's not a pH enhancer. It will not keep your pH up there at 7.0 for long periods of time. It's not designed for that. It's a soil conditioner, but with the humic acid, it will spike it, short-lived. So just kind of remember that. But it's going to help that root system. It's going to help condition that soil, all that nutrients into that soil. Like I said earlier, is going to get that root system a lot easier, better intake, better plant growth, more food for the deer. So, but yeah, mixing both them in together, you cannot beat it. Same way with, and I know we're talking perennials, but even with our jolt here for our annuals, you can mix that jolt right in with the plot max. Do the same thing you're doing with the clover on these annual mixes in the fall. So, but I'll try to stick with the perennials here, guys. I'll start bouncing around everywhere if I don't. But yeah, killing them weeds, getting them weeds and grasses out of there. Your soil only has enough nutrients in it. So when you're taking a plot that you're trying to get the most out of, and you got a lot of weed and grasses in there, then weeds and grasses are sucking so much nutrients out of that soil, your plants are not being able to intake them in. So it's stealing it away from them. So trying to kill them, mow them off, get them weeds down. The first year clover plot or any perennial plot, alfalfa, clover, or a straight chicory plot, your straight chicory is not so bad. Straight chicory, you can have a pretty clean plot, but alfalfa and clover, you'll have a lot of weeds and grasses in it that first year. I had a gentleman call me today that I've talked to multiple times, and he kept bringing up that he has grass in his plot, and it's because of our seed and grass and weeds in there. And then grass and weeds are from turning that soil under, turning it over. You're getting all the weed and grass seeds brought up to the top that's stored in that soil. That's where they're coming from. They're not coming from the mix. That's how you get them. Anytime you disturb soil, you're going to turn over them weed seeds and grass seeds. They're going to germinate when they get closer to the top. That's how your nasty area is. That's why you see a lot of people really going in and killing an area off or planting clover over, say, a brassica plot that's completely bare dirt the next year, and not preparing the soil. They're not really working it up because you got good seed to soil contact, and they don't have that much of a weedy mess because they're not disturbing that soil. Anytime you disturb it, you're going to pull them weeds and grass seeds up. Cody, you're exactly right. With a surfactant, you can use any kind of crop oil, anything like that, bean oil, crop oil, Dawn dish detergent, anything. Especially when you're using herbicides, you definitely want to use it with herbicides. You want to that inherited in plants a lot better. I still use it, even though you don't have to. We don't call for it. With our liquid products, all three of them, you do not have to use a crop oil, but you'll get a better stick if you do. And so I always use it. Go off the recommended rate there too. I kind of push a little more crop oil than a lot. You know, on a 11 gallons per acre, I'm usually running about 32 ounces of crop oil. 99% of the time, it's Dawn dish detergent because I get it so cheap. I'll just go to the Dollar Tree store and buy it by the gallon jugs, and a couple bucks, and it'll last me, quite a few springs. So Dawn detergent works very well. So if you can't find any crop oil, I know a couple of our stores right now, you can't find any crop oil. You can't find any of the dye. I like putting dye in with my chemical so I can see where I'm spraying. I use a blue dye. You can't find any. I had it ordered online because none of our ag stores had it. They're all out. So same with the anti-foam. I use a lot of anti-foam when I'm spraying, and can't find any anti-foam. Just little things like that can help you out. Anti-foam's a must for me, just because you always have that foamy mess, and it takes it right away. The blue dye lets you know exactly where you're spraying. You don't have to worry about overspraying stuff. I see a lot of guys using boom sprayers, and that boom would be stuck over, and they're spraying the same spot on one side, another 6 foot, the same that they just did. It's just an overkill on that. You're just stunning them plants too much. You don't need to do that. So if you grab you some blue dye, if you can find some or order it, throw some in there, and you will actually, it will just go right on through there. You'll see it, and it kind of looks funny, especially if you do it on driveway, which I found out that makes the driveway look like crap, but for a little while, because it stains it a little bit. But on them plants, you can see exactly where you're spraying. Works out perfect, and you don't have to worry about overspraying an area, and you got everything sprayed when you left. Nothing worse than coming back to a food plot and having a 4 foot wide strip that you missed and got grass and weeds all in it. Absolutely, Rick. Yeah, using crop oil, non-detergent, anything like that will really, really help you out there. especially like with me on these hot days like we're getting into right now. Now I'm going to be spraying quite a bit of clover fuel just because I haven't had any rain. The clover's still looking pretty good, especially in the shaded areas. So I'll be doing a lot of clover fuel, and I like doing mine in the early morning or late evening. Usually I'm doing it late evening when that dew gets on, and it really helps stick to that plant a lot better. See what I'm missing here, guys, before I keep rambling on here for you. Rick, I appreciate it. That clover fuel, it's unbelievable. I'll tell you what, I can't have a clover plot without it. I know it sounds like a sales pitch. I tell everybody that. I hear them kind of moan and groan. Until you use it, I tell everybody, spray half your plot with it and go back and see what the difference is. It's unbelievable. The Facebook user here, with no rain, how often should clover fuel be sprayed? You can spray clover fuel as much as you want. You'll never burn the plant with it. The plant's only going to benefit. Now, when that plant gets into its dormant state, where that plant's no longer growing because it doesn't have the nutrients it needs, as in the moisture, uh, that plant's going to go dormant. When it goes dormant, you can spray all you want. You're not doing nothing except wasting money. So if that plant is green, the leaves aren't brown, aren't folded over, curled over, that plant's still growing. And you can usually tell the difference in a real shaded area compared to a sunny area of a plot on the growth and what the plant looks like. You start seeing that shaded area get real nasty looking, that tells you right there you're guaranteed that that sunny area is already burned up. So wait till you get some rain there. But no, if you're going like you're saying, you're 2.5 weeks here now, you should be good. You can spray it. I mean, one dose is going to really help you, but you can spray it. I mean, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever you want to do. But one dose will really help that get going, and hopefully you got some rain coming in. And that's what I'm praying for too, because it's dry as a bone here. All right, let's see what we got here. But no, guys, if there's anything that I could actually push, I want to push the pH more than anything. Uh, but I know a lot of guys, not saying you guys, but I know a lot of guys, they're not going to worry about that pH. They're just going to try to put fertilizer down. They're going to waste money on fertilizer because the plants can't intake it in because of the low pH. Uh, Use them liquids. The liquid soil, I mean, the soil conditioner, the clover fuel, use them. They're going to help you out more than you can ever dream of. Uh, and right now, too, let's talk about drought. Had a gentleman call me here just a little while ago and discussing a uh, real sunny plot he has that is very sandy in Pennsylvania and not getting any rain. The plots usually burn up every year, and he's asking me what he could do. How can you make it grow? You know, you get in an area like that. This kind of goes with maintenance too, but it's actually a maintenance prior to planting. Get in there with some bells of straw. Get in there with some uh, any kind of soil you can. If you got soil, you got bells of straw laying around, bust them all up, work that in that soil. That's going to help hold that moisture in. It's going to give that moisture something to grab a hold of instead of filtering right down through that sand. So any of you guys in the sandy area, anything that you can work into your sandier soil will definitely help with holding moisture into that plot. So again, it's not really talking about the the maintenance afterwards, but that's kind of maintenance before, maintaining that plot before you plant it. Little things like that that I pick up on a daily, phone calls, emails, stuff like that. I kind of like bringing them up because I start thinking about them, and there's a lot of people having the same issues. Okay, we got a Facebook user with a logging trail 12 foot wide, 200 yards long. What is the best way to test the pH? Sample every 50 foot. With that 12 foot long, 200 yards, I'm going to go, truthfully, I'm going to go right down the center of that plot. I'm probably going to pull a test probably every 100 foot. So not very many. It's going to be about every 100 foot since you're so narrow. Mix them all up, pull your 8 ounce sample out of it, you'll be good to go there. So any other time, if it's a big wide plot, you've heard me talk about many times, I'll do all 4 corners, one in the center. But on something 12 foot wide, when I'm doing them for like my barricade strips, I'll just go about every 100 foot and pull me a sample out. So would it be okay to use 2,4-D on clover plot to control broadleaves? Absolutely not. 2,4-D will smoke it. It will kill it. Now, you got a product called 2,4-D B as in boy. So D as in dog, B as in boy, 2,4-D B. That is what you want to use. That's a selective herbicide that you can use on clover that will kill the broadleaves and not kill the clover. You can use that on alfalfa as well. But no, you want to go stay away from the 2,4-D. I'm not a fan of 2,4-D. Number one, the residual of it, it's going to stay in that plot longer. Even a lot of guys want to use it to kill off a plot before they plant. When you're using 2,4-D, you want to wait a minimum of 30 days prior to planting. And I'll tell you what, sometimes it'll stay on that soil even longer. So try to stay away from the 2,4-D, and it will leach out too. It will spread out to vegetation around it. It'll leach through the soil and kill things that you're not trying to kill. But no, 2,4-D will kill clover and alfalfa. 2,4-D B as in boy will not. So you can kill the broadleaves out of it with 2,4-D B. And actually, I don't know if I still got it on here, but I can look real quick, guys, for the gentleman asking that. Figure out how to do this again. Right here. Nope. Oh, get on there. Right there is your 2,4-D B. That's the Boot Rack 200. That's the cheapest and best stuff to buy when you're wanting a good weed killer for your clover and alfalfa plots. And then you got your trusty old clethodim here. That's something I use when I can't get, if I get into like a 1 year plot that I can't get the weeds knocked down just because Mother Nature is not giving me enough rain and stuff, and the weeds and grasses want to take over. Usually my 1 year plots, I'm using both these chemicals, but you can use them in all the years you got the clover. But they will work very well. Yeah, but every 100 foot, that works out perfect. Oh, that's Mark Coleman. Good to see you. You're under Facebook user again, bud. You guys got any questions on here about something I'm missing? Something you want to talk about? It don't even have to be about maintaining your plots. You got anything on here you're wanting to find out? Type it on here, guys. I'll help you out any way I can. But again, with maintaining, again, the proper fertilizer, I can't say it enough. Try to get something with the lowest nitrogen to zero nitrogen as you can for these, especially the legume plants, the clovers, alfalfas. That's all they need is that potash. So, and you're not going to feed the weeds and grasses that way. So any nitrogen you put on is going to go straight to the weeds and grasses. Them plants, them alfalfas and clovers do not need it. See what we got here. I got somebody texting me here some questions actually. They can't be on tonight because he's driving down the road, but he's still texting me. Actually asking me on our trophy clover mix, 3rd year on that trophy clover mix, and he's wanting to know how long it'll last. When it comes to that trophy clover, you can get a good 6-7 years of great growth out of it. Maintaining it like we're talking about, you can get even more out of it. One of my plots this year is 19 or 20 years old. I think it's 19, I think. 19 or 20. Losing track of time, guys. And that is with me maintaining it the right way, And then every 3 years, if it looks like it needs some overseeding, I will go in and overseed it. But I never frost seed this plot. I only overseed it after it starts growing back up, and I see if I got any bare spots anywhere. I will only hit the bare spots or thin spots. So if I did that by frost seeding, I'd be walking through there frost seeding over the whole thing. Then I'm getting too many seeds in there. I'm getting too many plants. They're going to starve each other for nutrition. The plot will never be as good as it looks. So if I'm wanting to plant or overseed a clover plot that's already existing, just like I said, I would never frost seed it. I'd always go in after it starts greening up in the spring. It starts growing. You'll see exactly what it's going to do, because it will look completely different from last fall till this next spring. And just so you don't take a chance of overseeding with too much seed. I know frost seeding is the biggest thing right now, but you can really hurt a clover plot or an alfalfa plot, a chicory plot, anything like that by putting too much seed down. So waiting for that ground temp to warm up, waiting for them plants to start to grow. That's why my clover plots turn out so good. They produce so much good protein forage, is because I do not overdo it. Yeah, we actually are. We got some fawns starting to drop now. I've been seeing some cameras are showing the tattletale sign. The yearlings are off by themselves. The big does aren't out in the field, and they're coming back with. You can tell they're all shrunken up instead of looking like a balloon. They're starting to drop. Robert's asking, what do you recommend for broadleaf weeds as a herbicide for clover? Again, bud, the 24D, the 24DB, 24DB is what you're really looking for. It's going to work the best for you. This is a very inexpensive one right here. Boot Wrap 200. You can get it on Amazon, your local farm stores, our Rural Kings, our Tractor Supplies carry them. Best thing ever. Make sure it has that B on the end of it, 24DB. Or you can get in with a higher money and spend for like the IMOX stuff like that. That's going to kill your grasses and your weeds together. But I just use the other two. Now, something I did not mention. Okay, you're looking at IMOX as a herbicide that's going to kill your grass and weeds. You're spraying it no more than 5 to 6 ounces per acre. It's going to kill both of them. It's a little slower going than what Clef and 24DB is, but with the Clef and the 24DB, the Clef is for your grass, 24DB is for your broadleaf. Do not mix them together. Spray them separate. Spray them at least 7 days apart, if not longer. I do not like, even though they're a select herbicide, they will stun that plant, and you'll see they're stunned. But then a couple weeks later, they're back to being beautiful green again. They're going like crazy. You start mixing them together, it makes it pretty hot, and you'll stun them even longer, and can't take a chance of killing some young plants. So always spray them separate. Uh, if you can, always mix in the clover fuel with it, so you're actually helping that clover, feeding that clover as you're stunning it by trying to kill the grasses out. You have a lot better luck. Yeah, be very careful mowing plots of fawns. I can't tell you how many fawns. Knock on wood. I have never ran over one, but I have stopped tire tracks within inches of them, and they won't move. They will not move. And I'll never forget a clover plot, a kill plot I had. It's about a three-quarter acre plot, and I started on the outside edges, and I just kept mowing in a circle all the way around, blowing the debris out, and I got to the very last 5 foot wide strip, and there was 4 fawns laying in that strip. They let me mow around them all that time and never left. And I finally had to push them out of there. I had to get off, and I was actually on the three-wheeler that time, and I had to get off and actually make them move and get out of the way and get in the wood line. But they let me mow around them all the way until I got right to that last 5 foot strip, and all of them were laying right in it. Yeah, that's very good advice. Watch your mowing right now. Anybody out there got any barricade planted yet? I do. I planted mine right before supposedly we was going to get an inch rain. That's been 2 weeks ago, and haven't had a drop. I'm afraid to go down and look at it. I got to this week, and I'm scared to death to go down and look at it. I got a feeling it's just bare dirt and some weeds coming up. I got a feeling. So we got like a 30% chance of rain tomorrow. I think a 30% chance Thursday, but no accumulation at all, hardly at all, and then nothing for the next 12 days on my forecast. So I don't know. Get down, spray some clover fuel. Hopefully it's not too dry. A lot of times, guys, you'll notice too, when we got back and we were talking about spraying clover fuel when it's dry, if you know if it's dormant or not. A lot of times, if you walk into a clover plot, you will tell if that plot is dormant because it'll be crunchy. That when you step on it, then plants will go straight to the ground and not bounce back up. That's a telltale sign right there. You don't need to spray anything on them and keep your machines off of them because you'll just flatten that all out and you'll tear up more than you'll help. So, Jeff, I seen your post where you got yours in 2 weeks ago. No rain since that night. Holy cow, man. Well, at least you're sprouted. It does have a little bit of, it's got some root development, and that's a good thing, but it could be a bad thing too. If you don't hurry up and get some more, it could burn it up. Danny, you got your barricade and your red zone. I'm looking forward to see what that red zone does for you, bud. It was good talking to you the other night on the phone. Hopefully them deer will leave it alone, but you know how that goes. They love that red zone about 3 inches tall. They like nipping it to the ground. Didn't get, yeah, haven't got any rain. That's bad, man. No rain is a bad deal, and it seems like more and more. But this year here in Illinois, it's early. Usually I have rain up to about July, and then it just smokes everything. And this year we're dry, dry. I got home from vacation. I actually took a vacation, first one in forever. Took camper out. Stacy and I did, and I got home in the yard just from the dew and everything, kind of needing mowed. It was so dusty. I had to get the air compressor out and blow myself off where I could even come in the house. It was so dusty. Man, it's horrible. All right, we got another one coming in here. Let's see what we got. Old John, he's listening in somehow while he's driving. And he's going to talk about red zone now. I want to know if there's anything he needs to do with red zone. Number one, if I can tell you anything you can do with red zone, if you're not planting 3 to 4 acres of it, you better fence it off because the deer are going to wipe it out. I'm going to tell you that right now. Maintaining wise, not really, bud. I mean, we don't use any Roundup Ready seeds in this mix. Some ways I wish we did. Other ways I'm glad we don't. One way I'm glad we don't because most people couldn't afford it. I mean, Roundup Ready is so unbelievable right now. I get that question a lot with Roundup Ready clover and stuff like that. It's unbelievable how much that stuff costs. But with the red zone, one thing I will tell you is if you do get some growth out of it, the deer do leave it alone, which is very unlikely. Get in there this fall, broadcast some honey hole right over the top of it. I know the area you're in up north. Broadcast that honey hole right over the top of that. Walk right through it, and you'll have a great green, high energy growth right through it. Sauk County doesn't have any rain for the next month. Oh, next week. I'm sorry, next week. Not good, guys. Not good. I got a feeling there'll be some replanting going on. I've been hearing a lot over the phone. A lot of the guys calling in their clover been in the ground 3 to 4 weeks and not seeing nothing. It takes a good 3 to 4 weeks to get some good clovers emerging out because it takes so long to grow that root system. But a lot of times, it not emerging out yet is a blessing for you because what happens usually it gets out there like we're talking about that barricade a minute ago. It pops up a half inch out of the ground. You get that drought and it burns up. It will come back because if it's coming up out of the ground, the root system's developed, it will come back. But even if them seeds are laying in the ground that haven't germinated on a plot and you don't see nothing out there, they're going to lay there dormant. So when your rains come in, you'll start seeing that growth. I had a gentleman today on the phone on my call me up, and I talked to him last fall, and he was very, very upset because he planted a trophy clover plot and it was real patchy. He planted in the fall, real patchy, no rain. He had a drought, didn't hardly get any rain till later on in the deer season. Very, very upset. So made him a deal. I told him he was gonna tear it up. He was gonna work it up. I said, do not work that up. Wait until next year. I said, if you wait until next year and you call me up and tell me that plot doesn't look 100 times better, I will send you a free bag of seed to replace it. So I finally talked him into not tilling it up. He called me today finally, and he was amazed on how beautiful. He actually sent me pictures. I should have downloaded them on here. Sent me pictures of that plot. He said, Rob, I can't believe it. He said, I thought you were so full of crap on the phone. You were just trying to get me off the phone. He said, this plot don't. He said it looks like a completely different plot. He said it's full, it's lush. And his next question to me was, what do I do with all these white flowers on it? I'm like, well, that means it's matured. You got to cut it. I said, you must be getting moisture. He said, I'm actually getting moisture this year. He said, I'm getting a lot of rain. He said, it's like 16 to 18 inches tall already and white flowers everywhere. So that tells you right there, don't be discouraged after that first year. I try to tell everybody that. A lot of guys won't listen to me. They till it under just because they're like, I don't like this. It should look like the picture on front of a catalog. It'd never look like that first year. You can get it to look like that if you got plenty of moisture and you got a lot of time on your hands, but it's unlikely. So make sure you get out there and do your little rain dance. You guys, anybody that's watching me on Facebook here knows how I like doing my rain dances. I'll get right out there in it if it starts raining. Haven't done that for a few years yet because I don't hardly get the rain anymore. So that's probably a good thing. You probably don't want to watch it anyway. But yeah, it's a pretty terrible thing right now with this rain. But all right, guys, we only got a few minutes left before they're going to shut me off here. Any more questions? I'm itching to answer some questions here. We pretty much went over everything we could with these perennials on what to do and what not to do. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of results you guys got this year and what kind of results you get with your plants and with your deer hunting, you know. Somebody's got to have a question. And why somebody's typing one, again, guys, when it comes to mowing, just really watch this weather. I'll say it again. If you're not getting the rain, don't mow. I don't care how flowery it is. I don't care what it is. Don't mow if you're not getting the rain. You don't want to take a chance of mowing that plot and not getting rain within a week or so and burning that up. You just don't want to do it. Rick, it was good to see you on here, bud. And hey, congratulations on that big old bear you shot out there. That was awesome, man. I saw that today on Facebook. Congratulations, my friend. Yep, just keep an eye on that weather before you start mowing. It's the number one step you need to do when it comes to maintaining a mature plot, but you don't want to take a chance to kill it. Did not realize I could ride a bike. Let me tell you about this, guys. All right, the little missus decided that she wanted to start riding bikes again. My daughter is 24 years old. I have not rode a bike since she was on training wheels. I haven't owned a bike. I didn't own it then. So we decided to go out Tuesday and buy our bikes, go to Southern Illinois on vacation. And when I mean Southern Illinois, I mean hills and holler strip mine. I spent more time pushing that bike up hills than I did riding it. Everything on me hurts. I can't, that's why I'm wiggling around here in this seat right now. I need one of them little round cushions that you use for hemorrhoids or whatever. Oh, Lordy. The bike's in the shed. I don't know if that thing's coming back out. Oh my. So do not go buy a bike. And our first ride was 5 miles long through the state park, up and down and all around. And out of that 5 miles, I probably pushed it one, just getting up some of these big hills. My little skinny butt ain't made for that stuff. Cody Jarrett, if you're still on here, you need to FedEx me or UPS me that quiet cap, and then I'll let her pedal. And I need to get her a sidecar. I can put a sidecar on the side of that bike, and I can ride while she pedals. All right, guys, we're going to get off here for tonight. Looks like everybody's been on here. Everything's doing good. no more questions coming in. We'll see you here in a couple weeks. And have any questions, reach out to me. You guys have a great night. Take care.